General Hospital spoilers keep circling in my head lately, and I cannot ignore this feeling that four couples are quietly, stubbornly forming right in front of us. Maybe not in the loud fireworks way, more like slow burns, awkward glances, half-finished conversations, the kind of chemistry that makes you sit up a little straighter on your couch and think, wait, what was that look? And honestly, I would not be surprised if two weddings are somewhere on the horizon. Not tomorrow, not next week, but soon enough that we should probably start paying attention. Let me start with Tracy, because Tracy is complicated and lonely and proud and exhausting, and I mean that with affection. Tracy Quartermaine is not just some random character drifting around Port Charles. She is the backbone of the Quartermaine family, the mother, the grandmother, the iron fist and designer gloves. For months now, maybe longer, she has been holding that family together like duct tape over a cracked window. Everyone else spirals, Tracy organizes. Everyone else panics, Tracy barks orders. And yet, behind that sharp voice and those cutting remarks, there is this emptiness. Luke is gone. Luke Spencer is dead, and that shadow is still there. You do not just erase a love story like that, even if it was messy and chaotic and borderline destructive half the time. Tracy loved Luke in her own sharp-edged way. Since his death, has she really allowed herself to move forward? I do not think so. Not really. She pretends she does not need anyone. She pretends she is above romance. But you can see it sometimes in those quiet scenes when the house feels too big and the arguments have stopped. There was that stretch when she was involved with Martin Gray, and that was messy. Martin was not exactly a friend of the Quartermaine clan. In fact, calling him an enemy might not even be dramatic enough. He clashed with Tracy. He opposed her. They circled each other like adversaries who secretly enjoyed the fight a little too much, and yet that snowstorm, I cannot forget the snowstorm. When they were forced into close quarters and suddenly the hostility melted just a bit. The way they looked at each other was not purely strategic. There was warmth, real warmth. Fans remember that. I remember that. The writing did not invent that spark out of nowhere. It was there, flickering. Now, did their relationship go the way Tracy wanted? No, it did not. Tracy rarely gets the fairy tale anyway. But I have this suspicion that the writers are not done with them. They would not tease that chemistry just to toss it aside forever. Tracy and Martin make sense in a strange way. Two sharp tongues, two experienced adults who have seen too much to believe in naive love. I do not necessarily see them walking down the aisle in some grand ceremony. That feels too neat for Tracy. But I absolutely see them circling back to each other, fighting, flirting, pretending they do not care, and caring deeply. Now, shifting gears because I have stronger feelings about the next couple, Dante and Liz. I know, Liz is technically with Rick right now, and that is a whole situation on its own. But if you have been watching closely, you can feel it. Dante keeps going back to Elizabeth over and over. He needs help, he needs advice, he needs support. On the surface, sure, that is what friends do. But there is something else in the way he seeks her out. Let us be honest for a second. Dante has been through hell. Sam died. That loss changed him. You do not lose someone like Sam McCall and just bounce back. Grief lingers. It warps you. It makes you question everything. And while Lulu has moved forward with Nathan, which still feels surreal sometimes, Dante is standing there in this emotional gap. The door back to Lulu is closed. Completely closed. That chapter is over. So what does Dante do? He drifts toward Liz. And Liz, for all her complicated romantic history, understands grief. She understands messy love. She understands choosing the wrong man and then trying again. Dante leaning on her might start as practical. It might even be subconscious. But feelings grow in proximity. That is just how humans work. The more he confides in her, the more she becomes safe. And safe can turn into love before either of them fully realizes it. Rick is the obstacle, obviously. Rick and his baggage and his history with Liz and everyone else in Port Charles. But obstacles in soap operas are practically invitations. They are there to be overcome. I genuinely think once whatever drama surrounds Rick finally explodes and settles, Dante and Liz will find themselves standing a little too close. And at that point, why not marriage? Why not give Dante a stable, mature relationship that feels earned instead of rushed? Out of all the possible weddings, theirs feels the most plausible to me. The most grounded. They have history in this town. They have pain. They have depth. It would not be some impulsive Vegas thing. It would be deliberate. Then there is the couple that honestly excites me in a different way. Christina and Jacinda. I can already hear some fans rolling their eyes, but hear me out. Their friendship has been growing. It is subtle. It is not flashy, but there is this tenderness between them. The way Christina supports Jacinda, the way Jacinda listens to Christina, that is not nothing. Yes, Jacinda is currently with Michael, and Christina even supports that relationship on the surface. But Michael's romantic track record is not exactly smooth. Things fall apart around him. And if his relationship with Jacinda collapses, which I honestly think it might, where does Jacinda turn? Probably to the person who has consistently been there. Christina. What if Christina admits her feelings? What if she finally stops pretending it is just friendship? And what if Jacinda confesses that she has felt something too, but was too scared to disrupt the status quo? That would be powerful. It has been a long time since General Hospital gave us a prominent same-sex wedding storyline, and representation matters. Not in a preachy way, just in a normal, everyday way. Seeing two women fall in love, struggle, fight for it, and maybe even marry on screen would feel fresh. I am not saying it would be easy. Christina's life is never simple. Sonny's daughter falling in love with a woman tied to Michael would create chaos. Family dinners would be tense. Loyalties would be tested. But that tension is exactly what makes soap operas work. And imagine a wedding scene. The drama, the emotions, the defiance. It would not just be about romance. It would be about identity and courage and choosing happiness, even when your last name carries weight. Finally, Turner and Sonny. This one is the most dangerous, the most explosive, because they stand on opposite sides of the law. Sonny Corinthos is not exactly a choir boy. Turner, focused on career and justice, represents the system that wants to take Sonny down. And yet, there are moments where the hostility feels charged, too charged, like it is masking something else. Do I think they could publicly acknowledge feelings? Maybe. In some dramatic confession scene where everything is on the line, but marriage? No, I cannot see that. Turner's ambition is too strong. His career matters. And loving Sonny openly would compromise everything he has worked for. That tension makes their connection tragic. In fact, I suspect their story would end badly. Turner choosing duty over love. Turner building a case that finally sticks. Sonny going to prison. And Turner standing there. Promoted. Successful. But hollow. That is the kind of bittersweet ending General Hospital likes to deliver. Love sacrificed at the altar of ambition. So yes, 4 couples. Tracy and Martin simmering in the background. Dante and Liz inching towards something real. Christina and Jacinda possibly stepping into bold new territory. Turner and Sonny dancing on the edge of destruction. 2 weddings feel possible. Dante and Liz feel almost inevitable to me. Christina and Jacinda would be groundbreaking in the current landscape. Tracy might find companionship without the paperwork. And Turner and Sonny, well, they might just break our hearts. That is my read on it. Maybe I am wrong. Soap operas love to twist expectations, but the clues are there. The glances, the repeated scenes, the emotional overlaps. Something is building in Port Charles. And I, for one, am watching very closely